भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. You are reading from the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, given by Divanagari Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Page number 20. The living entities are traveling from one planet to another, but it is not that we can go to any planet. We like any planet we like merely by a mechanical arrangement. If we desire to go to other planets, there is a process for going there. This is also mentioned Yanti Deva Vrita Devam Pitrin Yantri Pitruvataha. No mechanical arrangement is necessary if you want interplanetary travel. The Gita instructs Yanti Deva Vrita Deva. The moon, the sun, the higher planets are called Swargaloka. There are three different statuses of planets: higher, middle, and lower planetary system. The earth belongs to middle planetary system. Bhagavad Gita informs us how to travel to higher planetary systems, Devaloka, with a very simple formula, Yanti Deva Vrita Deva. One need, one need only worship the particular demigod of that particular planet, and in that way they go to the moon, the sun, or any other higher planetary systems. Yet Bhagavad Gita does not advise us to go to any other planets in this material world. Because even if you go to Brahmaloka, the highest planet, through some sort of mechanical contrivance by maybe traveling for 40,000 years, and who would live that long, we will still find the material inconvenience of birth, death, old age, and disease. But one who wants to approach the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, or any other planet within the spiritual sky will not meet these material inconveniences. Amongst all the planets in the spiritual sky, there is one supreme planet called Goloka Vrindavan, the original planet in the abode of the original personality of God, Sri Krishna. All of this information is given in Bhagavad Gita, and we are given through its instruction information how to leave the material world and begin a fully blissful life in spiritual sky. Om Jnanatinmirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadhamayam Dadati Swapadhantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Shri Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate giram. Yatkripātamam vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. न तद्भाष्य सरसूयो न शशांकन पावका यत्कृत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. Yesterday we initiated this discussion on the Lord revealed a few properties or few the way how the spiritual world looks. Actually, when you think about this, there is no sun or there is no moon required in the spiritual world. It looks little different actually. What different? So different. Just like when I was reading Bhagavatam, this was last year, I was going through this chapter in fifth canto. It tells about Jambudvip. It tells about different locations in this earthly realm. That means the Jambudvip we can't see because that is in a different realm. What we currently see, what we currently see So what we currently see is only the map which is shown, the world which is shown. That's what we see. We do not see anything else. We see little Australia, New Zealand, America. It's in the world map. But there is more beyond this. That Bhagavatam actually explains. The perception is little different because, dear devotees, when we understand this, our vision is very, very teeny because there are unlimited universes and then there are unlimited Brahmas. The Brahma, which we know has four heads. There are unlimited universe who are very complex, and then his heads are also more compared to what he has right now. He has only four, but the other Brahmas they have eight, they have 16, 32, 64. So it depends. So our understanding to accept the truth, our understanding to accept the truth is that means we are actually relying. When the Lord says, my spiritual God doesn't have, doesn't require sunlight or moonlight, it's a fact. Why? Because if we actually see, and again in Bhagavatam, it is been said that the Jambudvipa is in the top, is in the middle, and then our earthly planet is beneath that. And then there are other locations where people will reside around Jambudvip, and they do not drink anything, but they just drink that soma, that the juice which is coming from the tree. You know, the size of the tree is also unimaginable. It's more than the size of our earthly planet. More than that. Just one, there are just four trees which are tall, very tall, and then through that there are unlimited fruits, and then through that unlimited juices come, and then that juice would flow, and then that's what they drink for survival. They do not need anything else. They do not need gold. They do not need anything else of this world. It means what we perceive is not the same thing which everyone else is perceiving their devotees. Our seeing of this world is one thing, and then the other persons who are actually perceiving, who are actually seeing this world is totally different. That means we have to eat some rice, dal, chapati, but not in the other planets. They don't need all of these things. They just drink that juice. That juice is always continuously flowing. They just take that they just satisfied. They don't need anything else. That means they don't have to go to office to maintain this, that. They don't need to buy this, they don't need to buy that. No, it's all here. So these are all clear indications. For example, if I'm absorbed in this thing, so if you're absorbed in this thing, one second. So we are absorbed in this thing. One thing is very clear. That means we are missing out so many other things which are actually which is very vital. Because what is this truth? Why should we hear, or why should we understand? Why should we think about this? Why should we contemplate? Because they are devoted. This is our actual real identity. Because what we are currently doing, it is not our identity. That is not our placeholder. For example, I'll tell how serious this is because even though if we hear, but our acting is not in this platform. For example, I know, or for example, we know that we shouldn't behave in such a way that I cannot proclaim anything that this is what I am doing. We know this. Because Bhagavad Gita teachers or our acharyas, they reveal their heart. So that through that we understand that it's not for me. But still, when something is manifested, still they'll think that this is for me. That means the not for me which we're discussing or which we're trying to understand, that is really not going in the heart. Because if something goes in the heart, we don't actually perceive that. But still the other thoughts, the other mentalities are coming in the heart means it's a clear indication that the first thing which we heard, that never went into the heart. For example, whatever minimum thing is required in this world, that can be sustained for our maintenance. But we don't stay there. We actually aspire for more. We actually hanker for more. For example, simple maintenance. For example, a small two-bedroom home is required to sustain. But the thing is, that is, see, there's so many people in this world are actually surviving like that. But we don't come to that state. We think that we want more. Why this more is coming? Because we have some other dates, some other requirements, some other processes, some other background which is running. See, if this soul is being removed immediately from this body, that means all the connections which are pertaining to this body, it's lost. That means we are actually not connected to that. But still, in the consciousness level, we perceive that we are connected to this. That means that which is not true, how can I stay in that consciousness? That means who am I cheating if I'm staying in that consciousness? I'm cheating myself only. I'm not cheating anyone else. The husband will be happy if you give whatever he wants. The wife will be happy if you give whatever she wants. The children will be happy if you give whatever they want. They're just satisfied. What if you give that, they're happy. Like if you give your daughter a book, she's happy. If you give your wife some necklace, she'll be happy. If you give the husband something else, he'll be happy. That means every person is observed in their own way. That's why Krishna is telling, in my abode, that is not required. Natat bhasesha suri nashasanko napa. Oh dear, oh dear Jiva, you're thinking that this sun or this moon or this everything is maintaining this. You see, I created something else. None of these things are required. I created something where you don't have to worry about money or this or the other thing. But here everything is prominent on money. That means we have to maintain. We need to have something to maintain ourselves. We want what? One second. One second. Please give me one second. So those things we don't know. We have no idea. Because every person is anchoring for something based on their desires. And Krishna says, in my abode, you don't require money. That means here we want. My question will come, how much I want? What is my thing here? See, a devotee was asking this question. The question is, it's an interesting. In the spiritual world, there is no question of paying rent. There is no question of education. There is no question of this, that, so many other things. Then why are we anchoring so much for that in this material world? Why are we actually running behind all of those things? It's an interesting question. In the spiritual world, none of those things are required. Then why are we running behind those things here in this material world? Oh, the answer, it depends. Because we have to tell it depends. Because every person in this world has different perceptions. They have different requirements, different wants. Some wants to have a big building, some wants to have a big car, some wants their children to be like a millionaire. There's different desires. Some want their, wife also to work. Some, even if they get 500K, still they're not satisfied. Because it's a need, na? It's a requirement. Every person has a requirement. Why these things are there? Because these things, not okay. If these things are not the obstacles, then our acharyas would have told, "Oh, okay, you earn so much. You actually stay like that continuously." We cannot stay in that mode continuously. If those things are not required in the spiritual world, then why are we running behind it here? That means, for example, if we are running behind that in this material world, do we think that we will reach there? First of all, Prabhupada says that nobody has a desire to go to the spiritual world, which is a fact actually. Very few. Even few people who say there's only lip service, because we know if they really aspire for the spiritual world, their dealings in this world is totally different. But they just speak about that and then they themselves will forget. I know so many practitioners, they tell this. Oh, you know what, Prabhu, I have to go to the spiritual world. After a few years, or 1 year, or 2 year, or even 6 months, the approach which they are taking in their life is totally against their desire of going to the spiritual world. We see that, no? It's very clear because we can see everything. It's a very clear indication. So this for this practical example is, let's say if a person's home is burning out, the other person would saw it. But this second person who has seen it, he doesn't understand the first person's language. So he's trying to tell. But the other person is just drinking coffee, tea, reading the newspaper. The second person who's actually speaking, he knows, "Arey, this person doesn't understand because his house is on fire." And that person is very happily drinking coffee, tea. So what is this indication? Let's say if a person is actually speaking the truth, which is on the lines of the Acharya's words, that person will understand. If he is very genuine, he'll understand. "Arey yaar, they're not understanding this truth because they're not reacting in that way." What is happening? They don't understand the truth because they're not reacting in that way. That means it's like, that means is it not understanding the process, or is this some way, shape, or form it is not being expressed in the right way? That's why if you actually see, Krishna again and again tells the importance of bhakti continuously, not just in ninth chapter or 12th chapter. He again and again gives the importance of devotion because he knows, because he wants to give that clarity where Prabhupada actually confirms this again and again. You see, Krishna is again telling Mamaevam Sujiva Loke. So you see, Krishna is again telling Manvanabo Mad Bhakto. You see, Krishna is again telling Machita Madhigada Prana. Krishna is again telling Ma Manuswara Ijjasa. Krishna is again telling Maya Shakta Manapad. What is he doing? He's trying to repeat and then confirming again and again that I am center of everything. I am the source. That's why he's telling here. I have a loka. Tadbhashesha Surya Nashashanka Napavaka. Now, if you want to come here, then you have to leave this attachments of this material world. As simple as that. Because when we leave this attachments of this material world, then what happens? Then you are connected to that. But when we are holding to this attachment to this material world, then it is very difficult to connect to that. That's why it is called as Urdhva Mula Madhav Shaka. We'll discuss about that. What is the Urdhva Mula Madhav Shaka? It is the attachments which are actually connecting. Through the attachments only, the Trigunas are working. Because the attachments are where? Attachments are towards the material realm. That's why sadhaka will not actually see the presence of the Lord at every step of his life. Why? Because he is attached to this. He's not attached to that. Mahamanuswaru Idacha. See, Arjuna attachment is what? See, his only desire is to please the Lord. That's it. He doesn't have anything else. That with that motive only he fought. That's why he won. See, winning or losing is not important. That is in the hands of the Lord. But Arjuna's core idea is what? Is to fight. Because that fight is also what? For the pleasure of the Lord. That is the ultimate. Because, for example, if I'm going to office and then working and then leading a life. But if my working is not for the pleasure of the Lord, then what is that giving? What is that work bringing? The work will bring karmic reactions. Through that karmic reaction, what is happening? Punarapi janana, punarapi mar. Why? I am practicing now. No, 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 we are practicing, but we are not practicing in the lines what Lord wants us to do. See, Arjuna in chapter 1 also, he's actually speaking from the scriptures only. He's telling, oh Arjuna, oh my dear Lord Krishna, why should I fight? Because these people are lost. Why should I kill them? I don't want property. But he says that I don't want property, but his intention internally is something else. Because why two things, why dualities will come in the consciousness? Because there is no presence of the Lord. Because if the Lord is present, for example, dear devotees, another simple way to understand. Let's say you're working in a bank. You are a cashier. Every day you have to, every day from your hands, you kind of give out between 20,000 US dollars to 50,000 US dollars, or sometimes more. You're actually working to distribute the 20,000 to 50,000. But do we ever think that the 20 to 50,000 belongs to us? It's not us. We're just sitting there. If I sit there and then work like that, they will give me some $5,000 per month or $8,000, whatever. Just because I'm just repeating what they are doing, and they're giving me. But for example, if I stole that money, will I have an existence? The job will be removed. As simple as that. Likewise, dear devotees, we are actually kept here. We have to work for Krishna. We have to work for our acharyas. That is the whole idea. Why the Lord has given us the intelligence to understand this and make a livelihood. Because if we do not understand this and our livelihood is not as per this, then what happens? Then problem comes. Serious problems. Why? Just like the cashier is actually thinking that that money belongs to him, what is happening? It's a problem because his job is gone. It's a problem for him. It's a big problem for him. Likewise, when we understand that our actions and activities belong to us, then it's a problem. It doesn't belong to us. We've been kept in that state. We've been kept in that state, dear devotees. It's unimaginable. The consciousness have to be dealt in that way. How is that? Because if my see, dear devotees, everything which you see, we are breathing. Who is giving that breath? The Lord. We are eating, and then the food is getting digested. Who is doing that? It is the Lord. We are going out. We are walking with our legs. Who gave the legs? It is the Lord. We're actually eating. We are actually sleeping. We are actually conversing with other person. Who is giving that? Who is giving that consciousness? It is the Lord. If the consciousness is not there, we cannot do anything. That means everything which we do, right? Since we get up until we sleep. Everything, dear devotees. It is their perception. It is their gift actually. They give us. When a person realizes that everything is given to me by them, Do we keep anything to ourselves? We don't keep anything to ourselves. We do not. That is not the nature. For example, if I'm doing it for myself, that means I didn't realize that everything is given to me. See, Duryodhana, he never realized actually. Duryodhana never realized. What he never realized? Or or Hiranyakashipu, he never realized that it belongs to him, that he's been kept in that situation. He's been kept in that situation. Nobody realizing. No, actually, Prabhupada says that nobody realizes this. Nobody realizes that we've been kept in that state. For example, if I'm sitting here today, it's been given, it's a gift. And if this gift is used for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of the Acharyas, then that gift is then that means I'm using that in the right way. For example, we have children. If the children are trained up in Krishna consciousness, that is the right attitude. They have to be trained up in that process. Because that's a gift now, it is given to us. That means anything which is given, we have to give it back to him. For example, there is loss or somebody cheated on us. We should simply accept it. Understanding that, oh, I deserve more than this. Nobody should respect me. I deserve more than this. But still they're respecting me. That is out of their goodness towards me. It is not that we are having those qualities. No, a person cannot understand that this is me. That's why Krishna says, "Natad bhashayasya surya." That means this spiritual realm is not depending on anyone else. It's not depending on Surya. It's not depending on Chandra. It's not depending on Varani, Vayu. It's not depending on Indra. It's not depending on Brahma. It's not depending on any one of them. It is only me. That means Krishna is personally showing that through that spiritual world only this material world came. Because through that energy only, through that internal energy only, this external energy came. Not that through this external energy, internal energy came. No, no, no. Through person only, energy comes. Through energy, person will not come. For example, if there is no father, do you see a child? No. Even if you go to some other test tube media or to some other means, somebody else has to give. That means it doesn't manifest just like that. And it's a simple logic just to see, just to have a child. It doesn't come just like that. What to speak of this process? What to speak of this entire creation? Who is guiding Brahmaji? For example, if Brahmaji is remembering is lost, where are we? We are actually lost. Because he's actually maintaining this everything. He's actually creating this everything. That means if his intelligence is gone, that means where are we? For example, he has to wind off now. Or he doesn't know how to wind off. Where are we? We are in the unknown state. That means it's a very clear indication that everything is going by their will. And that's why the Lord is telling everything belongs to me. He's a proprietor. It's so sad. It's a funny thing. We do registrations for our homes on our names. It's interesting actually. Because there's so many living entities, they don't do that, but we do it. Because that's the norm in this world. If we have to live here, we have to act according to that. But still, through this living also, there is an existence for us. Very important. Through this living also. That means leading a life in this material world also, we can connect to that. For example, the Chataka bird, Popper uses beautifully. The example of Chataka bird, the Chataka bird doesn't drink water. It only drinks rainwater. It doesn't drink normal water which is there in the pond. That means it's little scary. Oh, that means if the that means if the bird wants to drink or wants to hanker, or if the bird is thirsty, that Lord will provide to that bird. That means the rain will come. Arey, the Lord is taking care of this bird. Doesn't he take care of us? This conviction, it might take few lifetimes to come. But that conviction is there in the spiritual world. That means whoever gets that conviction, they go there. Because they don't belong to this, they belong to something else. They don't aspire for this, they aspire for something else. It's very important actually. Why the goals and aspirations in this world are very material? Because every person is actually as anchoring for that. That means the person who's actually anchoring on a material realm, where are they? They are in an illusory state. That means there is no water, but I'm thinking that there is water. Person who is from a higher perspective, through the higher realm, when he is watching, for example, when Devi Devatas are watching, they will see us, Are, why? Are this Bulaka, the people of this world, is used for to realize themselves that they are not this body but a powerful spirit. So acting on that platform, realizing that I'm the servant of the Lord and they're working on that platform. But they are so absorbed in this world, worldly activities. They'll actually laugh, seeing our consciousness. Why? Because you're running behind so many other things of this world. I know so many devotees who they motivate themselves so much, and whoever comes in their association, they motivate them also. But they always tell this is everything is temporary. They just don't say that everything is temporary, but they act on that platform and they tell. Why acting on that platform and telling is very important is because one should show himself as an example. Otherwise, he cannot do that. Otherwise he cannot speak that. Because there's no value to that. For example, if I say smoking cigarettes is injurious to health and I am smoking, will that make any sense? No, it doesn't make any sense. Yadyad atarate says tattat eva tarojana. That means the application is not there. When the application is not there, things should not be managed. As simple as that. So that's what Krishna is telling. Why the Bhagavad Gita has to be discussed? Because he gives that inspiration. He allows us to come to that state of application. Because if sadhaka comes to that state of application only, whatever he speaks, for example, you are discussing this truth. Let's say you are saying, from shloka number, chapter number 15, shloka number 5, Krishna says, Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. That means if I am not in the state of Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha, or if I am not aspiring for the state of consciousness, then that information or that sharing which I am doing, that will not help myself, that will not help the other person also. That's why sadhaka should be so diligent. His aspiration should be that. His whole motive should be that. What am I doing with this? What am I doing with my life? See, our entire childhood days, they just went away. Don't we? Didn't we? Children who are like 6 months, 1 year. Do you think they don't understand? They understand. They accept. But can they respond? They cannot. Or can they understand the understanding in which a 20-year-old can do? No. They can understand. They can understand on a little level, but not in that level, not in that plane. So that is a very clear indication, dear devotees. That means childhood goes away like that. And adulthood it goes in studies, education, jobs, getting married, having children, getting home, getting settled. And then after that, the middle age. Middle age is there to actually do planning for the next 20 years or 30 years. What's gonna happen? What will I do? Actually, we're actually working, but still we have that thing. Oh, what should I do? What should I do? What should I back up? What should I do with the backup here, there? So many other things. Where should I purchase? Where should I purchase that? Which property have to? This is how the middle age will go. After running through the middle age like this, then what happens? In the old age, we get diseases. This problem, that problem. And in the old age, we begin complaining, "Arey, nobody is there for me. Why? Because I'm alone. Even I do not have good relationship with my wife. And my children, they are gone. They studied and then they got jobs and then they're settled in some other cities. They call on once in a blue moon for Mother's Day, Father's Day. And that's how the life actually completes. Then through this entire through this entire journey, where did we please the Lord? This is always a $1 million question comes to me. Where are we pleasing the Lord? Where is Krishna pleased here? Where is he pleased? If he's forget about he is sending us to the spiritual world. He's telling that this is how the spiritual world is. Now the motivation from the sadhaka side, what he should ask for, if the spiritual world is like that, what I should do from my side to go there? What should be my aspirations? What should be my goals? What should I do? Those things he should meditate. If he meditates in those things, then his real truth. That means the self, I am not this body, but a powerful spiritual, he'll realize that. Not just he'll realize that, he will be free from all of these things. He'll actually work for the pleasure of the Lord. That means he's actually doing for the pleasure of the Lord. When he does that, acharyas will be happy. Through the happiness of the acharyas, then the Lord will be happy. Duryodhana was not doing that. Hiranyakashipu was not doing that. They are doing everything independently. Same thing is a manifestation in this material world. Everyone is doing independently. Everyone has their own plan. Oh, okay, let me build this, let me do this, let me cultivate this, let me do this. Oh, here, that, so many other things. But that is not going to help. For sure, it will not going to help. Because why those things will not help? Because that is not the natural state of the jiva. Jiva is an unnatural state. That is not his real identity. He is in an unnatural state, proclaiming himself that this is right. But that is not right for him. But he doesn't know that that is not right for him. That is the biggest problem. We don't know which is right, which is wrong for us. It has to be Guru, Sadhu, Shastra has to tell us. They have to tell us. And if we feel that relationship, we will understand the truth and then move forward. This we need to this we need to understand. We need to perceive this. When our perception, when our awareness is in those lines, am I pleasing him? Is he happy with me? Am I doing right? Am I moving in the right steps? Is my reading or is my understanding pleasing them? Am I trying to do something for their happiness? These are the questions which we need to ask. This is how a devotee practically takes this process core to his heart. He will understand, Arey, I have so many things. What am I doing for the pleasure of the Lord? Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toya. Yume Vakta Prayachate. Okay, he just said, offer me a Patram Pushpam Pala Toya. Do some offering, give some liquids, and this. But am I doing it in that way? Am I leading my life in that way? Am I taking care of the Lord? Am I taking care of myself? But there is more to be done. These are the questions sadhaka has to ask. That's so Arjuna actually asked the questions in chapter 1. So we'll go into chapter 1. Arjuna is telling, I'm doing all of these things, but why am I not happy? A beautiful question. Oh my dear Lord, I'm acting on a selfless plane, but still my heart is not. Why there is grief in the heart? I don't want this property. I don't want this, but still my heart is not responding. Why? Because Arjuna is not doing what Krishna wants him to do. Krishna doesn't want him to leave. Krishna doesn't want him to leave. Please understand this. Krishna's understanding is to fight. For example, if the spiritual master says, you work, then the disciple will go and work. Spiritual master says, you quit. You do this service, then he will go and do this service. Wow, but what a relationship this is between the spiritual master and the disciple. This is great actually. Because that disciple is not in the modes actually. He is in transcendence. Because his consciousness is actually driving as per Guru Sadhu Shastra. Because he's not thinking independently. Just like Duryodhana is thinking independently. That's why through his independent thinking, what is he doing? He's trying to pull everyone. He wants Bhishma Dev, he wants Dronacharya, he wants Karna, he wants all those personalities because they are all stalwarts, na? They're great. Then he wants Narayana Sainya. Because he wants all of this to win the battle. Why? Me. I should be the center. I should be the controller. I should be the maintainer. That's why he's having problem in his heart. That's why he's in a fearful state. He's not in a happy state. In which state he is? He's in a fearful state. These are the complexities which a sadhaka has to understand. Because when we understand this, what happens? We are away from we don't want to we don't want to take that route. Oh my dear Lord, I don't want that. See, life after life I did this, but I was never happy. At least this life, let me follow the words of the acharyas. Now, proper says this, let me just follow this. The spiritual master says this, let me just follow this. And correct my consciousness in this lifetime. I don't want to take another body. If that is a desire, then we need to act according to that. A devotee was telling, oh Prabhu, I don't want to come to this material world again. I said, why? Because this material world is not good. This is a problem. Because the material world is not good, that's why you don't want to come here. Because you heard now, spiritual world, what is this? Oh, it's a kalpa vriksha are there. It's a beautiful flowers, trees, gardens. Now, for example, if I take a person to that place where beautiful flowers are there, beautiful gardens are there, cows are there, Krishna Balram are there, beautiful place. It's everything is beautiful. But after seeing that place, is trying to enjoy that place. That means the consciousness is not improved because he doesn't know what to do in that state. That's why these jivas will not go to the spiritual world. Why? Because in the spiritual world also this beautiful place is there, but he doesn't know what to do there. He doesn't know how to react to the other person in that place. That's why Krishna is telling, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha. Aspire for that state of consciousness. Become free from envy. Lust, greed, anger, envy, false ego, pride. Then slowly you'll realize me. Then you'll get a deep desire to come to me. Then you'll actually come to me. Then because what happens in between, you are actually beginning to work for me. Because Karma Yoga is a precursor to bhakti. Working for Krishna is what? It's a precursor to devotion. That means it's a prerequisite. What is happening is, before even working for the pleasure of the Lord, we want to get Krishna Prem. That means the sadhaka wants to jump from LKG to PhD. अरे यार the बीच में both करना है. So many other things has to be done. You should begin working for Krishna. One should be sacrifice oneself for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of the acharyas. One should give his body, one should give his energy, one should give his money, one should give whatever. One should give his assets, or one should give it other things. These things have to manifest. Then eventually, slowly in the heart, there is a reciprocation. That means we really want to work for Krishna. For example, I'll tell this and conclude. Let's say if Lord comes in front of us and then he tells, just like this Nardamuni example, a very beautiful example. He comes to Kailash and then tells Kailash, you come to me, I'll take you to the spiritual world now. Oh, Kailash immediately says that I recently got married. Recently got married. How can I leave? Or recently I'm a CEO or a director of a company. Oh, how can I leave this job? Oh, my dear Krishna, you come later, na? Now we are running behind these things. That's why even if Lord comes, or if some inspiration is coming in the heart, that will go away, that will fade away. Because what is happening is immediately after this, we're taking that association. Immediately after this, we're taking that association in the material plane, the material realm. And that is a problem. Because association, when it is taken on the why we are taking on the material plane? Because that is attachment. Na? For so many attachments. These attachments are the only which actually pull. These are the weeds in our consciousness. Those has to be cut out. The jiva voluntarily has to submit. If you see in the jail, we discussed about this yesterday, right? And add on to that. In the jail, voluntarily he should show himself as a good person. Nobody's telling him to be good. No, jailer is not telling, oh, you should be good, you should be good, you should be good. If you're like this, then we will give you this. They're not telling like that. They're not propagating that. But voluntarily, he should take that. Irrespective of difficult situations, he has to do that because all the other persons will mock him in that jail. But still, he still has to do that to get that result or to come out of it. And the devotee was telling, I want to leave this material world because there's a problem here. That means that root itself is problem. We are not leaving, we are not doing that act because to please the Lord. Lord told me to come out of this place. So for his happiness, I am really missing him. I really wanted to go to my father's place. If that is a motive, then it is a different thing. Then you'll actually work on it. You'll actually dedicate yourself in that way. In the footsteps of the Acharya, we will dedicate ourselves. Our dedication is too far. It will take time. Then it will take time to get realization, to get reflection. The realization and reflection which we are getting is okay because we are doing that shavana. We're trying to follow it. The more deeper we need to do, we need to follow the instructions by doing a service. That's how we reciprocate because pranipatena pariprashnana sevaya. Pranipatana, inquiry, submissive inquiry, and what? Service attitude. When those things are manifested, then it's a different game. Hare Krishna. Then I'll stop here. Anyone would like to add anything? This is very important, dear devotees, that the Lord is very clearly telling us that the living entities are traveling from one plane to the other. Why? To get happiness. Somebody wants to go to higher planet, somebody wants to go to lower planet, somebody wants to go to Brahmaloka, somebody wants to go here, somebody wants to go there. Why? Because everybody wants to be happy. Because let's say, for example, people would like to go to Bahamas. Why? They want to be happy there. Caribbean islands, why they want to be happy. Hawaii, why they want to be happy. They want to spend some time, like few days, 4 5 days, because they want to be happy. Because people are traveling from one state to the other, one state, because they want to be happy. Prabhupada is again telling, "Arey, wherever you go, there is also birth, death, old age, disease. Why are you going like that?" Then Prabhupada says about this. Natad bhasesa surya nasasankana pavaka. You aspire for this plane. You come to this state. Aspire for this. Because nobody is aspiring in this world. Prabhupada says that you aspire for this. Because this is the greatest intelligence. Because here there is no birth, death, old age, disease. It's a free from everything. So these are all extra. But the real thing is the real thing is bhakti. You'll get that connection with the Lord. And you'll simply serve Him. You have no other motive in this world. You just lead your life according to that. Hare Krishna. The wandering has to be stopped. That's what Prabhupada says. Because we wandered through different bodies. Now that has to be stopped now. When that is stopped, oh, it's a perfection. That means what are we? We are established in one. We are not established in something else. That's why that is the reason why Prabhupada established this organization so that he wants to establish a relationship with the Lord. He wants to show the glories of the Acharyas. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow we'll discuss on this. Urdhamula Madho Shaka Aswattam Prahuravayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. So where the Lord is telling about the nature of this material world, how it is here. Where here in this spiritual world is telling, you see, everything is independent because they're depending on me. That's why they don't need this, that, so many other things. And through that only this entire thing is manifested. That is what he wants to express. The Lord wanted to express, the Acharyas wanted to express that through that spiritual realm only, this entire material world is manifested. That means actually everything is spiritual only, dear devotees. There's nothing material here. Everything is spiritual. We are a spiritual and we have a spiritual identity. That is our natural state, but we have forgotten that. That is the only thing. There's no material here. Whoever understands this will make immense progress. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Would you like to add anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Doesn't.
Pranam, all
No,
glories to
Hare
God.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, so today you discussed very well acquainted topic of the duplicity attachment. And so Prabhuji, from your class today, I just got that the duplicity and attachment both are very correlated each other. And because of that, when there's duplicity, Krishna is not present. So each of our action, what we are taking, I'm talking about myself, what I'm taking the action, I have to evaluate myself. Self-evaluation is important, that what is that pleasing Krishna or pleasing myself? Even if in the form of service, suppose we are thinking about we're doing service to please the Lord, but whether it's real service to please the Lord or real service to please ourselves. So that's
Actually, the service also has to be sanctioned by the authorities. Because when we do as per the authorities, we get the blessings through the service. Because if you see, Brahmaji began creation after receiving instruction from the Lord. That's very important. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he began the service after receiving instruction from Ishwarapuri. Srila Prabhupada began the service even after receiving from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. Likewise, Jiva should receive the service from his authorities, from his teachers. Because through that, what is happening is Through that only the blessings are coming. Because we know when they are giving service, my whole idea is to please them. That's why Brahmaji actually told this. He said, "Oh, my dear Lord, you gave me this service, but out of this, I might think that I am doing this creation. Through this, I might get false ego. Please protect me." Then Krishna immediately said, "No, no, no, no. You will never get that. Be assured, because my blessings are there with you." This is important. Prabhupada says that this is the most prominent thing. And whoever gets this, that means doing the service through the lines of the blessings. That means I know, for example, if I'm doing something, I know this is actually coming from the authority, from that person. He gave me that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done this. It's coming from them. That means what I do, I'm indebted to them. Through that indebtion, what comes from the heart? Gratitude. Through that gratitude, deep service will manifest. That's what Brahmaji showed. That's what Srila Prabhupada showed. Because this service is an eternally we should do. Eternally, for example, Duryodhana is also thinking I'm doing something. He's thinking that I'm doing service to my family members. I'm taking care of them. But that is not the service because he's doing it independently. There's no presence of the Lord. That's why his heart is not satisfied. That's why that service has to be given. When that is given to us, then when we do, oh, it's the greatest blessing. Please continue.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining. The service needs to be sanctioned by the Lord. So nice, you said, Prabhuji. So, and the happiness, we are all looking for happiness. And this happiness is very temporary. And so, as you and all the senior devotees says, like you will get the real happiness by loving Krishna, because our nature is love and to be loved. That senior devotees don't love to be loved. But when we love the beloved, our Krishna, that love, that happiness, it will be the eternal happiness that you said, Prabhupada says, get that eternal spirit through the Acharya's life. And so that's eternity of happiness. To get that, it's it should be our goal. And also, Prabhuji, that that action, like what action every day we are doing, I'm doing it every day. So for that, and ask myself, as you said, like ask the question, why you are doing it, and is that pleasing the Lord? What is the purpose? So that should be asked by ourselves. Very important. And Her Grace Nitai Shabini Mataji, in one of her lectures, she mentioned that she put an alarm to her phone intermittently, just so that she can remind, that the alarm will remind her to remember Krishna, because she is so busy, and she is so exalted devotee, and she is very busy at her work too. But she said, like, I always keep alarm in my phone, so that I can remind, the alarm will remind me to remember Krishna. So, so it's so amazing, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else? Thank you, Amshula Prabhu. Please take out the call. Hare Krishna. Thank you if I spoke anything wrong, if I caused an inconvenience, please excuse me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, telling us how important it is to focus on our spiritual activities, serving our spiritual master, using every moment in serving and remembering the Lord, and how our life is just passing through birth, childhood, middle age, old age, disease, death, and we not dedicating our time for the most important thing, our Sanatana Dharma. Thank you for reminding us every day. so that we can get it into our activities every day. So thank you for starting the day strong for us.